Friends, tell me honestly, how many of you have felt hurt when someone ignored your message? Or when they saw you but pretended not to? It stings, doesn't it? But let me tell you something very profound today. Being ignored is not always an insult. Sometimes it's an invitation to discover your true strength. My friends, the first step to never reacting when someone ignores you is to understand human nature. See, most of the time, we think people ignore us because of us. We immediately take it personally. We say, maybe I did something wrong, maybe they don't like me, maybe I'm not important. But in reality, many times, it has nothing to do with us at all. Imagine this: you send your friend a message on WhatsApp. 2 blue ticks appear. They are online. They even post a story on Instagram. But no reply to you. Now your brain starts writing a whole Bollywood script. Oh, maybe they are angry at me. Maybe they are upset because last week I didn't call. Maybe they are ignoring me because they found someone better. Pause, the audience laughs. But the truth is, sometimes they are simply busy. Sometimes they are tired. Sometimes they are just mentally occupied. And sometimes they are not ignoring you, they are just ignoring everyone. When a doctor ignores a call, it's not because he hates you. It's because he's saving a life. When a student doesn't reply to a text, it's not because she doesn't care. It's because she's sitting in an exam hall. When a husband doesn't answer his wife's message instantly, it's not always because he is ignoring her. It might just be because he is driving. But what happens? Our ego, it refuses to accept logic. It tells us, no, they must be ignoring me. And we fall into this trap of self-doubt, anger, and unnecessary overthinking. My dear friends, to free yourself from this pain, you must learn this powerful truth. People's behavior is often a reflection of their own state of mind, not a judgment of your worth. Someone ignoring you doesn't mean you are unworthy. It simply means they are human, and humans get distracted, get busy, get tired, get moody. Isn't it true that even you have ignored people sometimes? Pause, smiled, come on. Be honest, how many times have you opened a message, thought, I'll reply later, and then forgot? Yes, the audience laughs. So if you can do it, why can't others? When you understand this simple reality of human nature, you stop making everything about you. And when you stop making everything about you, peace enters your life. So next time someone ignores you, don't say, what's wrong with me? Instead say, maybe something's going on with them. That little shift in perspective can save you from hours of unnecessary pain. My friends, one of the biggest reasons we suffer when someone ignores us is because we attach our entire sense of worth to other people's attention. Think about it. When someone replies quickly, we feel happy. When they take time, we feel anxious. And when they don't reply at all, we feel rejected. But can you see the danger here? Your emotional health is being controlled not by you, but by someone else's behavior. Imagine this: you walk into a room and people smile, clap, and give you attention. You feel like a king or a queen, but then the next day, you walk into the same room and nobody notices. Suddenly you feel invisible, small, unimportant. The same person, the same you, but your worth changed simply because of how others responded. Isn't that strange? Let me share a small story. A teacher once asked her students, if a diamond lies in the mud, does it lose its value? The children said, no. Mom, it's still a diamond. She smiled and said, exactly. Your value does not depend on where you are or how people treat you. It depends on what you are. My dear friends, if you are a diamond, then even if someone ignores you, your shine remains the same. The problem is, we have been trained from childhood to seek validation. Parents say, "Good boy, good girl," when we do well, and they frown when we don't. Teachers give us grades, and we feel smart or dumb, depending on a letter on paper. Social media gives us likes, comments, followers, and suddenly, we are measuring our worth by numbers on a screen. So when someone ignores us, our mind screams, "I'm not valuable anymore." But the truth is, your worth is not negotiable, it is not up for debate. It does not rise with someone's attention, and it does not fall with their silence. Think of the sun. Every morning it rises. Some people wake up early to admire it, some pull the curtains and go back to sleep, and some are too busy looking at their phones to even notice. But does the sun stop shining? Does it say, "Oh, today only 3 people admired me, let me dim my light"? No. The sun shines because shining is its nature, not because people clap for it. You too must learn to shine because it is your nature, not because someone acknowledges you. So the next time someone ignores you, remind yourself gently, "I do not lose my value because someone failed to notice me." If they don't see you, it doesn't mean you are invisible. It only means they are blind in that moment. And blindness in others should never make you doubt the brightness in yourself. Sometimes, my friends, silence speaks louder than any words you could ever say. When someone ignores you, the first instinct is to react immediately, to call them again, to text them more, to confront them with, "Why are you ignoring me? What's wrong with you?" But here's a secret. Your reaction often gives them more power over you than their silence ever could. Think about this. If a dog barks at the moon, does the moon bark back? No. The moon continues shining, calm and majestic, while the barking fades away into the night. In the same way, when someone ignores you, the most powerful statement you can make is not through anger or words, but through your calm silence. There was once a man who was constantly insulted by his neighbor. Every morning, the neighbor would throw garbage in front of his door. But the man never reacted. One day, the neighbor asked him mockingly, "Why don't you ever fight back? Why don't you get angry?" The man smiled and said, "Every morning, you give me a gift of garbage. But I have the choice to accept it or not. I choose not to accept it." Friends, this is the power of silence. Just because someone hands you negativity doesn't mean you have to receive it. When you stay silent in the face of being ignored, you're not showing weakness. You're showing strength. You're telling the world, "My peace is too expensive to be disturbed by your behavior." And silence doesn't mean indifference. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself to not let someone else dictate your emotional state. Sometimes silence is the loudest reply. When you stop reacting, you are sending a clear message. I know my worth, and I will not beg for attention. Your dignity remains intact, and your energy remains preserved. Isn't it true that words spoken in anger are often regretted later? But silence never has to be taken back. Even in nature, silence is powerful. The forest does not argue with the storm. It simply stands. And when the storm passes, the trees are still there. Similarly, your silence allows the storm of ignorance to blow over while you remain steady and unshaken. So my dear friends, learn to let your silence be your reply. When someone ignores you, don't run after them with noise. Instead, stand tall, be calm, and let your presence speak louder than any words you could say. For in silence, there is dignity, and in dignity, there is true strength. My dear friends, the fourth secret to never reacting when someone ignores you is to shift the focus inward. Most of the time, when someone doesn't reply, doesn't notice us, or acts like we don't exist, our mind immediately runs outward. We start chasing their thoughts. Why are they ignoring me? What did I do wrong? What are they thinking about me? It becomes a constant mental movie where the main actor is not you, but the other person. And guess what? You're not even holding the remote control, you've given it away to them. But what if, instead of turning outward, you turned inward? Instead of asking, why are they ignoring me? You ask, what can I learn here? That single shift of question changes the entire experience. Imagine this: a farmer plants seeds in the soil. Some grow fast, some grow slow, and some don't grow at all. Now, the farmer can waste his time staring at the barren land, asking, why isn't this seed growing? What's wrong with this soil? Or he can put his attention on the seeds that are sprouting and nurture them with water and sunlight. In the same way, when someone ignores you, you can keep staring at their silence, or you can water the seeds of your own growth. Turning inward means learning about yourself in moments of neglect. Ask yourself, why does this hurt me so much? Is it because I feel unseen? Is it because my ego wants control? Or is it because I expect too much from people? When you turn inward, you discover that the pain of being ignored is not just about them. It is about you. And this awareness gives you power. Once a monk was asked, why do people's actions not disturb you? He replied, because I no longer ask, why are they like this? I ask, why am I disturbed? Friends, that is the essence of wisdom. You cannot control why people ignore you, but you can control why it shakes you. Let me give you a practical example. If someone ignores your call, instead of pacing up and down, wondering what they are doing, you could ask yourself, what can I do with this time? What can I invest in myself right now? Read a book, write a thought, practice gratitude, meditate, or simply breathe deeply. Their silence becomes your opportunity. Their absence becomes your teacher. Turning inward also means recognizing your triggers. Sometimes being ignored touches an old wound of rejection, maybe from childhood, maybe from a failed friendship, maybe from an old relationship. Instead of blaming the person ignoring you today, look inside and heal that wound. Because unless you heal it, every little silence will feel like a thunderstorm. So, my dear friends, don't let your peace depend on someone else's acknowledgement. Stop staring out of the window of their behavior. Close the window and open the door within yourself. You will discover a whole universe waiting to be explored. And once you find peace inside, no amount of ignorance outside can shake you. My friends, one of the greatest lessons in life is this: respect yourself enough to walk away from places where you are not valued. Many times, when someone ignores us, we hold on even tighter. We think, if I try harder, maybe they'll notice me. If I chase them, maybe they'll finally give me attention. But tell me honestly, does begging for attention ever bring you dignity? Or does it only make you feel smaller each time? There is a difference between patience and self-disrespect. Patience means giving space, giving time, allowing people to come around. Self-disrespect means tolerating behavior that constantly makes you feel unworthy. And when someone repeatedly ignores you, not once, not twice, but consistently, you must have the courage to step back and say, I deserve better than this. Let me share a story. A man walked into a shop to buy a rose. He picked one up, but the shopkeeper said, Sir, that one is already dying. It won't last long. Let me give you a fresh one. The man smiled and replied, "But I like this one. I'll try to keep it alive." The shopkeeper shook his head and said, "Sir, no matter how much water you pour, some roses were not meant to bloom." My dear friends, the same is true with people. No matter how much love, energy, or attention you give, if someone has decided not to value you, they won't. And the more you chase them, the more you drain yourself. Respecting yourself does not mean being arrogant or rude. It means having healthy boundaries. It means recognizing when to stop knocking on a closed door. Because when one door closes, it simply means your energy is meant to walk through another one. Think about it. If you spend all your time running after those who ignore you, what happens to the ones who truly value you? What happens to the people silently standing by your side, waiting for your attention, your presence, your love? You neglect them. You miss them. You give your best energy to the wrong place. And in doing so, you end up feeling empty. Sometimes, God allows people to ignore you so you can learn the lesson of self-respect. So you can learn that your worth is not in their hands. That you don't need to stand where you are unseen. When you respect yourself, you don't run after attention. You attract it naturally. Just like a magnet doesn't chase iron, it simply pulls it. Respect has that kind of power. Let me put it another way. Have you ever noticed how water flows? When it meets a rock, it doesn't keep banging itself against it, crying, "Why don't you let me pass?" No, it simply changes direction and keeps flowing, and eventually it finds its path. My dear friends, your life is like that river. If someone blocks you with ignorance, don't keep hitting yourself against them. Respect yourself enough to flow elsewhere. When you respect yourself, silence becomes easier. Letting go becomes natural, and peace becomes your companion. You stop asking, "Why don't they see my value?" Because you already see it yourself. And once you see it, you'll never beg for it again. So when someone repeatedly ignores you, don't react with anger. Don't react with desperation. React with self-respect. Stand tall. Step back and remind yourself, if they cannot see my worth, it doesn't mean I don't have it. It only means they don't have the eyes to recognize it. My dear friends, one of the deepest reasons we feel hurt when someone ignores us is because we are secretly chasing validation. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to be approved, and there is nothing wrong in wanting love and connection. After all, we are human. But the danger begins when our happiness starts depending entirely on whether people approve of us or not. The one who chases validation will always remain thirsty. Why? Because the world can never clap for you all the time. Today, they may celebrate you. Tomorrow, they may criticize you. And the day after tomorrow, they may forget you completely. If your peace rises and falls with their approval, you will live like a leaf blown around by the wind. Never stable, never secure. Let me share a small story. A wise man once walked into a crowded marketplace carrying an empty bowl. People laughed at him and said, "Why are you carrying an empty bowl? There's nothing inside it." The man smiled and replied, "Yes, and that's the problem with many of you. You are walking through life with an empty bowl, waiting for others to fill it with attention, with compliments, with approval. But as long as your bowl is empty, you will keep chasing everyone, begging them, "Please put something inside." My friends, if your inner bowl is full with self-respect, gratitude, and love, you don't need to beg anyone for validation. The truth is, those who chase approval will always be manipulated. Think about it. If I know you desperately want my attention, then I control you. If I give you approval, you feel happy. If I withdraw it, you feel miserable. But if you don't need my approval, then I cannot control you. You are free. That is true strength, not needing to be fueled by others. And look around in life. Every great soul who left a mark on this world was misunderstood, ignored, even rejected at some point. Saints, leaders, visionaries, they were not always celebrated. In fact, often they were mocked. But because they were not chasing validation, they did not collapse under criticism. They kept walking their path. Imagine if they had stopped every time someone ignored them. We would have no light, no inspiration. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever ignored someone unintentionally? Maybe you were busy, maybe you were stressed, maybe you simply forgot. But the other person might have thought, they don't care about me anymore. Isn't it true? If this can happen with you, why can't it happen with others? And if you understand this truth, you realize chasing constant validation is a trap because people are human. Sometimes they give it, sometimes they don't. So what is the solution? Instead of chasing validation, build self-validation. Start acknowledging yourself. When you do something good, don't wait for someone to clap. Clap for yourself. When you grow, when you learn, when you succeed, smile and remind yourself, I am proud of me. Because if you are empty inside, no amount of outside approval will ever be enough. But if you are full inside, even silence from the world will not disturb you. Remember this, a flower does not beg the bees to come. It simply blooms and the bees arrive naturally. In the same way, when you focus on being your best self instead of chasing validation, the right people will naturally value you. But even if they don't, you still remain beautiful, you still remain whole. So my dear friends, stop chasing the applause of the crowd, because the same crowd that cheers today may boo tomorrow. But your inner applause, your own respect, your own approval, that is forever. My dear friends, the seventh principle is one of the most powerful qualities you can ever develop in life, emotional intelligence. Now, let me explain this in very simple words. Emotional intelligence is not about how much knowledge you have, not about how many books you've read, not about how sharp your memory is. It is about how well you can handle your emotions when life tests you. And what better test than being ignored? Because the moment someone ignores us, emotions rise like a flood. The mind shouts, how dare they? Don't they know my value? I'll show them. The heart whispers, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe they don't love me anymore. And the ego jumps in. Call them again. Text them again. Don't let them win. Suddenly inside you there is a courtroom. Your emotions are the lawyers, your ego is the judge, and your peace is the prisoner. Pause, smile, audience chuckles. But emotional intelligence teaches us something beautiful. Pause, breathe, wait before you react. Because in that little pause lies your freedom. There is a famous story. A monk was once insulted by a man in public. Everyone expected the monk to shout back, to defend himself, to argue. But the monk simply smiled and remained silent. Later, his disciples asked him, Master, why didn't you react? He replied, if someone offers you a gift and you don't accept it, who does the gift belong to? They said, it remains with the giver. The monk nodded and said, exactly. His anger was his gift. I chose not to accept it. Friends, this is emotional intelligence. Do not let someone else's behavior control your inner state. Think about it. If someone ignores you and you explode with anger, who suffers? They may not even notice your reaction, but you will carry the stress, the heaviness, the disturbance. Your sleep will be ruined, your mind restless, your heart heavy. Emotional intelligence is the wisdom to say, I will not drink the poison of overreaction. And let me be very practical here. Emotional intelligence does not mean suppressing emotions. It doesn't mean you feel nothing. No. It means you feel everything, but you choose how to respond. It means instead of instantly sending 10 angry texts, you wait, you breathe, and you ask yourself, what response will bring me peace, not regret? Sometimes the best response is silence. Sometimes it is patience. Sometimes it is simply redirecting your energy elsewhere. Have you noticed how children behave when ignored? They cry, they scream, they throw tantrums because they cannot regulate emotions. But maturity means not letting that inner child control your actions. And the beauty is this: when you practice emotional intelligence, people begin to respect you more. They see that you are not easily shaken, not easily provoked. You become like a mountain, calm, steady, unmovable. My dear friends, always remember this: reacting is easy. Anyone can react. But only the wise know how to pause and respond. And that pause, that small gap between stimulus and response, is where your real strength lies. So, when someone ignores you, don't hand over the keys of your emotions to them. Keep those keys with yourself. Because if your mood depends on their behavior, you will always be a slave. But if your mood depends on your emotional intelligence, you will always be free. My dear friends, when someone ignores you, you face a simple but very important choice. You can either pour all your energy into chasing them, or you can redirect that energy into places and people where it will actually grow. This is one of the most practical lessons of life. Invest your energy wisely. Think about it. Your energy is like water. If you keep pouring water into a rock, nothing will grow. But if you pour the same water into fertile soil, flowers will bloom. In the same way, if you keep giving your attention, your time, your emotions to someone who repeatedly ignores you, you will only end up dry and exhausted. But if you take that same energy and give it to people who truly care about you, to activities that uplift you, to habits that improve you, your life will flourish. Let me tell you a story. A man once went to a spiritual teacher and said, I keep messaging my friend, but he doesn't reply. I feel miserable all the time. The teacher smiled and asked, how many messages have you sent? The man replied, 20. The teacher laughed and said, and how many could you have written to yourself in a journal? Building your own wisdom. How many could you have sent to your parents who are longing to hear from you? How many could you have written to a person who is truly waiting for your words? The man paused, and for the first time, he realized how much energy he had wasted on a closed door. My dear friends, life is short. You only have so much energy each day. Why waste it knocking on doors that are locked? Why not spend it where your presence is welcomed, where your words are heard, where your love is appreciated? And it's not just about people. Redirecting energy also means focusing on your own growth. If someone ignores you, instead of sitting in pain, pick up a book, go for a walk, learn a new skill, pray, meditate, exercise, write down your thoughts. Do something that nourishes your mind, body, and soul. Because here is a powerful truth. The best way to deal with being ignored is to become so busy improving yourself that you don't even have time to notice it. Look at nature. When the sun rises, do you think it waits for everyone to watch? No. It simply rises and gives light to the world. When a tree grows, does it wait for people to clap? No. It grows quietly, steadily, and eventually gives shade and fruit. In the same way, your life must not stop because someone refuses to notice you. Keep growing, Keep shining, keep giving. The right people will notice, and even if they don't, your growth itself will reward you. There is a famous saying, where attention goes, energy flows, and results show. If your attention goes to the one who ignores you, the result will be pain and emptiness. But if your attention goes to self-improvement and meaningful connections, the result will be strength, peace, and fulfillment. So, my dear friends, don't waste your energy chasing shadows. Redirect it towards light. Don't give your best to those who don't value it. Give it to those who do. And above all, give it to yourself. Because when you invest in yourself, you will never feel poor, even if the whole world ignores you. My dear friends, one of the heaviest burdens we carry in life is the weight of grudges. When someone ignores us, our ego feels bruised, our heart feels rejected, and our mind begins to replay the scene again and again. How could they do this to me? Why didn't they reply? Why did they treat me like I don't exist? And before we realize it, their silence has planted a seed of bitterness inside us. If we are not careful, that seed grows into anger, resentment, and even hatred. But here's the truth, holding on to grudges only chains you. The person who ignored you may be sleeping peacefully, while you are awake at night, tossing and turning, replaying every detail. Isn't it strange? Their action has ended, but your reaction continues. Forgiveness, my friends, is not about doing them a favor. It is about setting yourself free. Let me share a simple story. Two monks were once traveling together. They reached a river where a woman was struggling to cross. One monk immediately carried her across, placed her safely on the other side, and then continued walking with his companion. Hours later, the second monk burst out angrily. "I can't believe you carried that woman. We are monks. We are not supposed to touch women." The first monk calmly replied, "Brother, I left her at the riverbank hours ago. Why are you still carrying her in your mind?" Friends, how many people are you still carrying in your mind? People who ignored you, people who didn't value you, people who made you feel invisible. Isn't it time to put them down? Forgiveness does not mean you agree with what they did. It doesn't mean you have to let them back into your life. Forgiveness means you refuse to let their behavior poison your heart any longer. It means you close the door on resentment so you can open the door to peace. Now, some of you may be thinking, but how can I forgive someone who made me feel so worthless? And I understand that pain. But remember this, forgiveness is not about declaring that they were right. It's about declaring that you will not let their wrong control you anymore. When you forgive, you take back your power. You choose peace over punishment. Think of it like this: if a snake bites you, do you spend the next hour chasing the snake in anger, or do you immediately treat the wound? If you chase the snake, the poison spreads and destroys you. In the same way, when someone ignores you, their silence is like the bite. But your grudge, the anger, the resentment, that is the poison. Forgiveness is the antidote. And here's another powerful truth. Sometimes forgiveness is not just for them, it's for you. Because every time you forgive, you lighten your own heart. You release yourself from the prison of what they did to me. You stop living in the past and you reclaim your present. My dear friends, forgiveness is freedom. When you forgive someone who ignored you, you are telling yourself, my happiness does not depend on their attention. My peace does not depend on their recognition. I choose to let go. And when you let go, you walk lighter, you smile easier, and you live freer. So next time someone ignores you, don't chain yourself with resentment. Don't keep drinking the poison of anger, hoping it will hurt them. Instead, forgive, release, and remind yourself, their silence will not steal my peace. I am free. My dear friends, we began this journey with a simple but painful question. What do I do when someone ignores me? And along the way, we discovered something profound. Being ignored is not the end of the world. It is an invitation to discover your inner strength. When people ignore you, it doesn't always mean you are unworthy. Sometimes it means they are busy, sometimes it means they are blind, and sometimes it simply means they are not meant to walk with you on your journey. And that's okay, because your worth is not in their eyes, it is in your being. Remember this: the sun never stops shining just because a few people close their curtains. The flower never stops blooming because someone walks past without noticing. And you too must never stop growing, glowing, and giving just because someone fails to acknowledge you. Silence can be your strength. Self-respect can be your shield. Forgiveness can be your freedom. And when you stop chasing validation, when you redirect your energy inward, when you learn to rise above reactions, you become untouchable. So the next time someone ignores you, don't lower yourself by reacting. Instead, raise yourself by reflecting. Don't beg for attention. Respect yourself enough to keep shining. For those who are meant for you will never need to be chased. And those who ignore you were never meant to dim your light. My dear friends, live like the sun. Rise, shine, and keep giving light, whether people notice or not. Because your purpose is not to be seen, your purpose is to shine. And when you shine, the right eyes, the right hearts, and the right souls will always find you. Or pause a smile warmly at the audience. So never react when someone ignores you. Instead, respond with dignity, live with peace, and keep shining anyway.